All right, Morning Manna. It is Friday, and I've been waiting for today. The whole kind of idea that draws one to 1 Kings 19 is this amazing experience that Elijah has at the top of the mountain of God. He's in Horeb, which is a region. He's probably on Mount Sinai. Many scholars will tell you that. He's hidden away in a cave, probably the spot where Moses was when God comes by and shows Moses his glory. Many scholars will tell you that as well. And it's like, in my mind, it's like God takes Elijah on almost the reverse journey of the children of Israel. Here he is, and he runs out, being chased by Jezebel. And so he escapes into Judah and then into the wilderness. And he's got this experience where here he is in this cave, and then amazing things start happening. There's a wind. Thunder, the whole thing, but God was not in the wind. And there's fire, but God was not in the fire. And then there's just this gentle whisper. And Elijah, the text says, you should read it, 1 Kings 19. The text says that Elijah pulls up his cloak and goes to the face of the cave because God was in the whisper. And there's so many lessons to learn from that. Some of them are we want to learn to hear God's voice and really learn God's nature and know who he is, because God chooses to talk in different ways. Sometimes, in my case, it's just a thought that I have, and I'm like, I have this thought, and I realize that must be God. Sometimes it's through a mentor, it's through a child, it's through another person. It's through a person who doesn't like me, and they say something, send me a nasty email, you're the worst. But in the midst of it, God's speaking. So you want to learn to hear God in all of the different ways that he speaks. And in fact, in Elijah's case, before, on this very mountain, God has spoken in the thunder. It says in Exodus that there was thundering, and Moses heard the voice of God in the thunder. And God speaks by leading the children of Israel with fire and with smoke. And so all these are traditional images in which God has spoken. But here, he is speaking in a whisper. So big idea first, learn to recognize God's voice, so however he speaks, even when it's not what you expect, you're ready to hear from them. But then too, I think what God has been leading throughout the Old Testament, people in an understanding of, is that God wants to whisper. Because when someone whispers, it demonstrates that they're close. And so God is, through the life of Elijah, showing us this picture of the reality that we don't need to approach God as a God who stands far off, moving mountains with his rolling, thunderous voice of anger. But in fact, God wants to know you intimately as a friend, so he can whisper to you and meet your needs and sustain you and communicate to you and be with you. And so it's this progressive view we see all through the Old Testament where God says, come close to me and I'll come close to you and I'll speak to you at a whisper, because that's how close we can be together. That's how God is drawing all of us. In your time of devotions, as you seek him in prayer, get as close to God as you can, because he desires to grow close to you. God bless you, men of church. Have a great day.